I own my apartment, Surulere, 3-bedroom A.
I said I want a man with an address, not a location.
You drive yourself to work?
No.
No, I use... Next.
So Lape, I have a good job. I care about you. I think we could...
What floor is your office on?
Ground floor, but...
So do the security guards. Next.
So Lape, please, I love you. What more do you want from me?
A master's degree would be a start.
None of them deserve me.
Solape rejected 14 men in 1 year. Then life sent her something she could not reject, and it destroyed everything she believed in. Before we get back to this story, kindly like, comment, and subscribe to this channel.
Everyone in Sholape's life knew about the list. Not because she had ever shown it to anyone, but because they had all, at one point, failed to make it onto it. She kept it in a note app on her phone, locked behind a 6-digit code, but the contents lived so deeply in her mind that she could recite them like scripture. Tall, light-skinned, minimum of a master's degree, drives himself, net worth above 40 million naira, spiritually grounded, no children from a previous relationship, good family, no bad habits, emotionally intelligent. 14 points. She had been refining the list since she was 22 years old. Fresh out of university, watching her classmates fall into the arms of men she considered beneath them. She had made a vow then, quiet and fierce as a blade, that she would never settle. Now, she was 34. Her mother called her every Sunday, and every Sunday the conversation ended the same way. Sholape when? 2 words, no elaboration needed. The weight of them sat on her chest like a stone, but Sholape was not afraid. She was certain the right man was coming. She had just to wait. She opened her phone that night, 11:30, Lagos buzzing below her balcony, and scrolled through the message she had sent to Emeka Okoye, the 4th man this year she had quietly walked away from. Reading it one last time before deleting the thread entirely, she felt nothing, or at least she told herself that. Somewhere in the building behind her, a door opened and closed. Footsteps in the corridor, then silence. She did not know yet whose footsteps those were. She would. The office was all glass and cold air. Sholape sat across from her colleague, Bode, who was telling a story she had already stopped listening to. Something about a wedding, his cousins, or his friends. It didn't matter. The whole blood into one now. The flowers, the ashebi, the Instagram pictures, the captions that said, and so it begins. She smiled at the right moment and nodded with the rhythm of someone present. She was not present. She was thinking about the look of Kola's face last Saturday, the 4th man this year, when she had handed him back his wristwatch, the one he had left at her apartment during their 3rd date, clearly on purpose. You are serious, he had said, not a question.
I know,
a resignation.
but we need a better plan.
You knew I was serious from the beginning, she replied.
Every moment counts.
And she had been. She had explained her values,
it's just
her
hard.
expectations,
I don't want to make the
her
wrong
timeline. She was not a woman who wasted anyone's time,
We can't keep
including her own. Kola was good looking, kind, worked in finance,
but we need a better
but
plan.
his apartment
We are
was
running out
rented.
of time.
His degree was from
Every
a
moment
polytechnic.
counts.
He laughed too loudly in restaurants. Small
It's just
things,
hard.
but the
I don't wanna
list
make the wrong
did not
choice.
make exception for small things. What she did not expect was what he said next. Sholape, he looked at her the way someone looks at the burning building. I pray the man you are waiting for is worth what you are giving up. She had laughed it off, but that night, she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling for 2 hours. At 1 a.m., her phone buzzed, unknown number. She almost ignored it. She didn't. The text read, your parcel had been at the gate since Thursday. Management said it's blocking access. Please collect by tomorrow or it will be returned. No name, no greeting. She almost sent a sharp reply, but something about the tone, blunt, efficient, unbothered, made her pause. She checked her building group chat. New property management. Apparently the old one has resigned 2 weeks ago with without notice. She collected her parcel the next morning and found a man at the building's small reception desk she had never seen before. He was not remarkable in the way that usually made Sholape look twice. Average height, dark skin, a face that suggested he had learned early not to draw attention to himself. He was reviewing a clipboard when she entered, and he did not look up immediately. "Apartment 4A," he asked without lifting his eyes. "Yes, sign here." She signed. She took her parcel. She left. That should have been the end of it, but at the elevator, something made her turn back. He was already on the phone, speaking in a low voice, and she caught only the tail of the sentence before the door closed. She doesn't know yet. Don't tell her until I get there.
I'll call back.
The elevator moved upward. Jacque stood very still inside it. She didn't know why that sentence had reached through the nose of her morning and caught her by the throat. She told herself it was nothing. She told herself that a lot. Tumi was the only person who could tell Sholape the truth and survive it. They were at their usual spot, a small restaurant in Lekki Phase 1, jollof rice and fish, a ritual every other Friday since they were 26. Tumi had ordered for both of them before Sholape arrived, which meant the conversation was already in motion before Sholape even sat down. "You sent Kola away," Tumi said, not a question. "Yes. He's a good man, Sholape. He's a good man who doesn't meet the list." Tumi set down her fork. "I know the list, Sholape. I have memorized the list. I think about the list more than I think about my own marriage." She paused. "You are 34. I'm aware. Do you know what I saw on your face when you walked in here? Nothing. That's what worries me. Not that you rejected him, that you feel absolutely nothing about it." Tumi picked up her fork again. "One day, that nothing is going to catch up on you." Lakwe opened her mouth to respond. Her phone rang. It was her mother's number, but when she picked up, the voice was not her mother's. It was a nurse, Miss Arolo. "Please, can you come to Lagos Island General Hospital? Your mother, she collapsed this afternoon. We need someone from her family here now." The restaurant noise faded. The fork in Tumi's hand stopped mid-air. "Is she?" Sholape began. "Please come quickly, ma." The land went quiet. The hospital corridor smelled of disinfectant and bad news. Sholape sat in a plastic chair outside the ward, her heels still on, her handbag in her lap, hands clasped over it as if holding herself together by force. Tumi had driven her there and now sat beside her, not speaking, which was the greatest gift she could offer. The doctor came out at 9:47 p.m. His face carried the careful arrangement of a man who delivered difficult things for a living. "Your mother is stable," he said first. The word "stable" did not feel as reassuring as it was supposed to. "But we found something during the scans. Mrs. Adufunke Arowolo has mashed in her left tongue. We need to run further tests. But based on what we are seeing," he paused, only for a breath, but that pause contained a word. "We are concerned." Sholape heard the rest of it from a great distance. Stage, further investigation, treatment option, specialist referral. Soon, she nodded at all the right moments. When the doctor left, Tumi reached over her and held her hand. Sholape let her. She sat staring at the corridor. The nurses passing, a child crying somewhere down the hall, a ceiling light blinking twice before steadying, and she thought, strangely, about the list. She thought about all the men she had sent away. She thought about how she had never, not at once, imagined sitting in a hospital corridor alone. She was still thinking about it when she looked up and saw him, the man from 4B, standing at the nurse's station, talking to someone. At this hour, in this hospital, her mind went quiet. He saw her at the same moment she saw him. A half second of something, recognition, surprise, something else she couldn't name. cursed his face. Then he composed himself, the way people do when they are practiced at composure, and walked towards her. Mrs. Arowolo, you, she stopped. Why are you here? He sat down without being invited in the chair.
Please don't be alarmed.
Tumi had vacated moments ago to get water from the vending machine. He did not seem like a man who waited for invitation. My aunt is a ward nurse here. I come to bring her food sometimes when she's on night shift. He looked at his aunt, then at her. Is it your mother? She blinked. How do you know? The building manager before me told me things about the residents. Tried to brief me before he left. A pause. He mentioned your mother visited you often, that she is unwell. Sholakwe stared at him. He mentioned that, she said carefully. He said a lot of things. He met her eyes. I didn't repeat most of them. There was a weight to that sentence she did not fully understand. What's your name? She asked. She had never asked. Dara, just Dara. Oladara Adewale, but nobody uses the full name. Tumi returned with 2 water bottles. Looked at Dara, looked at Sholakwe, and with the perfectly calibrated restraint of a woman who understood a moment, sat in the next row of chairs and said absolutely nothing. The corridor blinked on. Neither of them moved. The test came back in 10 days. Stage 2, treatable but aggressive. The specialists used words like immediate commencement and financial planning and family support structure. Sholakwe wrote everything down in a small notebook, each word in her neat, precise handwriting, as if documenting it carefully would put a boundary around it. She drove home alone. She sat in her car in the building's parking lot for 23 minutes without moving. She was not crying. She hadn't cried yet, and she didn't fully understand why. It was as if her body was waiting for permission from a part of her that had not yet processed what was happening. She went upstairs, slid her key into the door of 4A, and found an envelope on the floor. Just inside, pushed under the door. No name on it, no stamp, just her apartment number written in a hand she did not recognize. She opened it. Inside was a single folded page, and on it, in handwriting that was not Dara's. She somehow knew this instinctively. Was a message that made her knees buckle. Sholakwe, I know about your mother. I know more than you think. The man in 4B. Ask him who sent him to this building. Ask him why, before you trust him. Ask him that one question. You deserve the truth. No resignation. She stood in her doorway, the letter in her hands. The city, roaring 14th floor below. She had been waiting for the perfect man her whole life. She had no idea that what was coming would shatter every version of perfect she had ever believed in.